We're here at our secret garage and we're going to be driving the 2016 Toyota Prius. Before this Prius, we also tested the 2016 Chevrolet Volt. We'll have a link for that video coming up at the end of this video, if you'd like to watch that. It's been my observation that many people who buy these also buy electric cars because they think the planet's going to melt in the next 10 years, and fossil fuels are evil, and Jill Stein will save us, etc., etc., etc. And that's fine. Me, I've been around for a while. I know better. Just give me a vehicle with looks and horsepower and I'm perfectly happy. So some viewers out there might think I'm not the type of guy that should be reviewing a car like this. I might say nasty things about it. Well, no, we don't do it that way here. We're totally non-biased. There's something good, we tell you good. Something bad, we tell you bad. And actually I have lots of good things to say about this new Prius. This is actually a nice looking car, and even more so with this bright red metallic paint. I know the styling is cool because it passed what I call the kid test, because one of my parking areas is next to a bus stop where all the little grade schoolers get off, and the first thing they want to do is see what I'm driving. And when I get a cool car like a Mustang or a Corvette, a Viper, oh, they tell me what a cool car that is. But I've never had them say, hey, that's a cool looking Toyota. Not to insult Toyota, but their styling isn't that exotic or exciting. But the first day I had this, they got off the bus and said, wow, what a cool looking car, and wanted to go all around and look at it inside and out. Hey, kids know. I mean, you don't see a kid saying, hey, what a cool looking Pontiac Aztek, right? So Toyota, you did a great job on the styling here. And if you watch my videos, the first thing we do before we go any further is test the headlights to see how they perform in the dark. Let's do that right now. It's dark enough, so we'll take these Prius headlights out and see what we can light up. Here we have the headlights focused on a wall 100 feet away on low beam. Lots of light here. Let's see what the high beam does. Wow. No complaints here, plenty of light. Here we have the high beams on a building 300 feet away. Lots of light here, one of the most powerful I've ever seen on a production car this year. And we go down to the low beams, just barely makes it with lots of light along the way. For real-world driving conditions, these are definitely the best headlights I've driven in a long time. It didn't feel those railroad tracks at all, so we have a very smooth ride, which we'll be talking about later. In the styling department, Toyota did a great job on the interior as well. Very clean, modern looking. The government calls this a 5-passenger. No, it's not. It's 2 in the front and 2 in the rear, unless you're fitting 3 monkeys in the back, but hey, that's the way it is with all compact cars. No biggie. If I recall my numbers right, the cubic feet capacity of the rear is 25. There is no spare tire under the board here, just a cheesy tire repair kit, which is why you might want to buy one of your own. I have 2 air pumps and 3 cans of stop leak under here. You get a flat, you'll need it. If you're taking a long interstate trip, the best thing to do is buy yourself a spare tire and stick it in the back here. Here's a better view of the front cabin. The climate controls are very easy to operate. Same with the navigation and stereo system. This knob on the steering wheel controls a lot of the information functions. Like so. The shift lever is on the dash. A good idea, actually. A lot of the Prius models have the white console you see here, and people in the media have been bitching about this, saying they don't want a white console and telling us the dealer can convert it to a different color. I don't know what they're complaining about. White reflects heat, keeps the interior cool. I like it, but hey, if you don't, you can always change it. did have a few gripes. The steering wheel is adjustable for height. It does retract, but it's rather limited in its amount of movement. The glove box is way too small, and if you have all the owner's manual and paperwork, you won't fit anything in here except, well, gloves. My suggestion is to take all of that paperwork and jab it in the rear seat slot. Now we have a glove box that we can actually use. The steering wheel adjustment and glove box size are minor gripes. They're no big deal. There's only one real complaint I had with this vehicle, and I'll just demonstrate it right now. Get it out of the way. The side window is wide, a complete 34 inches of space here. You can see how small the sun visor is by comparison. Now, about 95% of the cars on the planet have sliding sun visors to block out the sun. This doesn't slide, or it doesn't have a tab that comes out. The bottom line when it comes to blocking out the sun, this is about the best you're going to get. And as you can see, all this glass letting in the sun. If you live in Hawaii or Alaska, this isn't going to be an issue, but here where it's August and 115 degrees outside, the entire left side of my face has been getting baked on my drive home in the afternoon. It amazes me that Toyota has spent all this money, millions and millions of dollars, to develop this Prius, but they can't spend a few bucks to correct this and give us a sun visor that works. I know Toyota, you watch these videos, please change this. This isn't a deal killer though. You can always go down to the automotive accessory shop and have your windows tinted or get some type of blind or something. It can be resolved, but it is kind of annoying that you have to. I read the spec sheet on this engine last night, and it says 95 horsepower under the hood with a 72 horsepower electric motor system, which ends up 121 horsepower overall. I know the math doesn't add up. It never does on these hybrids. It's just the way it's listed, and that's the way I got to tell it to you. The official fuel economy figures from the EPA say 54 mpg in the city and 50 mpg on the highway. We'll be doing a lot of driving on this, so we'll see what the real world mileage is. I can tell you up front, I've driven all the previous Prius models, and this later generation is definitely the best. I was very impressed with the driving characteristics, so let's hop in, I'll tell you why. This newer model is lower, wider, and has a lot of suspension part improvements. And it really shows it in the handling. Now these tires are too soft for the car to be used as a sports car, but if you're zipping in and out of traffic, you'd be surprised how well this handles. And as you can see in this turning circle, I'm nowhere close to spinning out. This is kind of fun, actually. It's doing better than the Acura I had last week. Oh, shouldn't have said that, huh? Don't think Acura will appreciate that. The power steering is electric, but has far better feel than the previous models. On paper, the 0 to 60 time on this vehicle runs around 10 seconds, and that sounds painfully slow. But don't be fooled, because this electric motor has lots of torque, just like a diesel, and has lots of pulling power and throttle response. Actually, this is the fastest Prius I've ever driven. And by the way, there's a drive mode button here that gives you normal mode, eco mode, and sport mode. But we're going to be doing most of our driving in the normal mode for now. Okay, so let's give it a shot. A little slow off the line, but picks up pretty good once you get rolling. Brakes are a little soft feeling, but work quite well. Oh, hit a big bump there. Didn't really feel it. The suspension does a good job of absorbing bumps. By the way, I did get a stopwatch and record 0 to 40 times in the normal mode and did it over again in the power sport mode. I didn't see any difference on the stopwatch. When daily driving, when passing somebody or climbing a hill, it did seem to make a difference, so it's definitely worth using. But for normal driving, I used the normal mode. I never did use the eco mode, by the way. I found in other vehicles it slows the car down, cuts off the air conditioning. It doesn't improve gas mileage that much, so I just don't mess with that stuff. Normal mode or sport mode are the only things for me. Eco mode might work for you. Give it a try. Every Prius I've driven before this model averaged around 41 miles to the gallon, and that's backed up by Consumer Reports, Car and Driver Motor Trend, which averaged about the same in normal driving, not hypermiling where you're driving 40 miles per hour under the speed limit and blocking up traffic. So, I'm sure you want to see what the real world gas mileage was here, so let's take a peek. Okay, here we go, 182 miles. And I was driving in heavy city traffic, doing a lot of 0 to 60 acceleration times. Plus, it's over 100 degrees outside in most of this driving, and hybrids don't like heat. In fact, on very hot days, I've had hybrids drop as low as 30 mpg. So, this 47.3 is rather impressive thus far. Now we can look at the logbook going back through September, August, July, and June. 382 miles at 47.6, 962 at 38.9, 1,051 miles at 49.5, and 297 miles at 51.9. Not bad. But here's something interesting. In the entire 3,134 miles this vehicle's been driven, it's averaged, hey, just what I got before in the other vehicles, 41.0 mpg. Don't know how to explain the difference, but these are the numbers, and take them the way you will. By the way, we never got around to discussing price. The base Prius runs around 25 grand. This was loaded up with a lot of goodies, so it hit around 34,000 bucks. Here's my take on the Prius. It's really not my type of car. If I had 33 grand to spend on a vehicle, I'd get a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck and do some four-wheeling. But that's me, not you. What I can say is this is the best Prius they've ever made, improved in almost every way. More power, better handling, smoother ride, better interior, better looks. See, the bird agrees with me. The only thing they didn't improve was the sun visor system, but that can be corrected by the purchaser. So what it comes down to is, no, I wouldn't buy one, but I really enjoy driving one, and I hated giving it back. I mean, a car that's just fun to drive and gets almost 50 miles to the gallon, you can't complain about that. So if this is the type of vehicle you're looking for, give the Prius a look. Here's our video for the Chevrolet Volt. Just click on the link. That's all there is to it.